How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield. How do you learn who you really are? It's not found in books. It's found on the battlefield. I have a feeling that you and I hanging out is going to drop some gold.
Are we recording today?
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's hang out. Even if we're just hanging out, it's probably going to be a conversation that would benefit somebody.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, so let's do it.
All right.
Yeah, awesome to actually meet you. I want to hear more about you, man. I would love to hear your stuff. Like, you got podcast stuff you're doing. You got a very cool setup going on there. Like, let me hear about you. I got to meet you, man.
Sure. I had a pretty normal childhood, dude. I mean, like, fairly normal. Parents got divorced. That's pretty normal. I was a fat kid. And so that was probably that was my first biggest struggle. I remember, so I've got a book on it. I got a couple of books on Amazon, but the one that, is my first book I talk about in there that these girls, asked me if I needed to try in front of basically the whole class at a pool party. And it embarrassed me to the point that I said, I'm never going to go through that again. And I haven't been through it again. And I lost weight that summer. I thought everything was going to be great. And I still, I've always had, to a degree, an inferiority complex. And I think a lot of that is due to, I grew up in a really nice neighborhood, but we were like, I'm not going to say the poor in the neighborhood, but by default, we were the lower income people in the neighborhood. So it's almost felt like I always tried to keep up. And I always compare myself to other people. And I'll get to in a moment when that kind of, and I still do that to a degree, but some of it's gone away for sure. And it's an interesting time when I realized this. But I've had 3 DUIs. I got caught 4 ounces of cocaine back in 2005. I did not go to prison. You can figure out the reasons why that is. I mean, it was me or him. So it is what it is. But it really didn't stop there. I kept drinking. Drinking was I loved drinking. I loved it. I thought, I didn't think I would ever quit drinking. And so I got married. I got shipped off to a rehab facility that was, it was Pentecostal holiness. And religion is, it is what it is. I'm not really a religious person, but I for sure have God in the center of my life. And so I didn't stop drinking after that, but I had to get married. In order to leave there, because of their rules, I had to be married as a single dude, which is just bizarre, but it is what it is. So I got married, got all my shit. So it made sense at the time. I didn't have a driver's license. I kind of didn't have much choice. And a few years passed. That was an awful relationship. In 2009, I got my license back for the first time in like 8 years. And that's when I decided I went to AA really just to get away from my ex-wife, to be perfectly honest with you. In those rooms, I found some relief. I found my people, so to speak. And I wasn't totally bought in, dude. I'm not going to lie to you. I still thought I didn't really fit in. I said I found my people. I'm more pretty well into crowds. I just kind of, I have never really had a problem with that. But I still always was better than the people in the rooms. I just thought I didn't really think I needed to be there. I mean, by all accounts, looking at my record, for sure I needed to be there. But my ego was still massive, and I'll get to that too in a second. Fast forward about 7 years, life got good. I had run a couple of businesses. I had opened up, and I had started my own AA meeting. But I said my own AA meeting. I was the center of it. And I didn't mean for it to be me to be the center of it. I don't think, but that's questionable maybe. But I ran the meeting, I set it up, and it just kind of I stopped growing. And I started this business, and I thought my shit didn't stink. And so I started smoking weed, not heavily. I say I'm not a weed smoker. I am not a weed smoker at this point, and I don't plan on being. And I'll get to that also in a second. Slowly but surely, I started smoking weed, and slowly but surely, I started moving away from AA. And about that time, I started listening to Tony Robbins. And I think Tony Robbins is amazing. I think he's great. But it was a easy segue of looking back from a 12-step program into Tony Robbins. And plus, he drills it into your mind that if you say, I am, whatever that comes after that. And the truth is, you either become that, or if you believe that you're X, Y, and Z, if you believe you're fat, even though I see you're in shape, then, you probably will wind up that way. And so I said, well, wait a minute. That was my way out of AA, right? I said, I can't in good faith say I am an alcoholic. That's crazy. I'll feel broken the rest of my life. And so I fed myself that story, and I wrote on that story for about close to 6 years, 6.5 years. And slowly but surely, I started smoking more weed, and I didn't really think it was that big a deal. I just didn't look at the wreckage that I was causing throughout that, because I couldn't recognize it. And so I was told a guy back in November, and by the way, the business went to hell, and that was partially my fault, partially not. But I made some bad choices. So did my partner. And then I struggled it was 2018, and I really struggled, and I have struggled since then. I've done some things. I've written a book, started a podcast. It looks all great on the outside, but the truth of the matter is, I've been a train wreck. And so, fast forward, November, I met a guy that runs a group called Roofers in Recovery, and I was telling him this very story, except for the weed part. I didn't tell him that. And he said, Corey, maybe this is not about you. And I'm like, He's like, how many people do you that are struggling? I said, I don't really help anybody that's struggling. And that next day when I got back, I took my ass to an AA meeting. Now, I kept smoking weed, and I had a conversation with God before I went to that first AA meeting. I said, I'm willing, but I'm not willing right now. Give me the willingness. I'll move towards it, but I'm just not willing right now. And I held on to that until March. And I went through several sponsors, couldn't find anybody that could link up with me. And the truth of the matter is, I wasn't being honest. I was not being honest with anybody. And come to find out, as I started going down this path and discovering what a complete nightmare I was, it's opened my eyes to, the chaos, the complete train wreck that I've made out of my life, unbeknownst to me until all this stuff came to fruition. And for the last 6 months, I've been building an AI for call centers. I haven't been building it, but I've been I've been spearheading it. But I keep tripping over myself. I keep messing things up, and I keep screwing deals up. And I'm a pretty smart dude, but I couldn't figure out what the fuck was going on. And the truth of the matter is, my ego was so big, I couldn't fit my head through the door until I had to, admit to this. He's not my current sponsor, but he was, and he was like one of the, loudest guys in the room. Last dude I would ever anticipate working with. But he said something one day. He said, if you're sponsoring yourself, your sponsor's an idiot. Well, I don't know how much you know about AA. I haven't done much, but I was writing out my 4th step that day because I was so fed up, because I'm like, damn, dude, I got to get through these steps because I know that's the solution. And when he said that, I went, all right, well, probably need to talk to him. And so everybody, because I still haven't had a drink in almost 14 years. And everybody wanted to start me on step 1, and I was willing because I was in enough pain to be willing. He said, no. We need to start on your 4th step. And I said, perfect. He told me exactly what I wanted to hear. And I thought, this guy's been sober 35 years. He knows. But he didn't know. He knew enough to get me through a little bit of it, to open my eyes a little bit more, and for me to be honest with him. Because I knew, when I told him I'd smoked weed, I knew what the next answer was going to be, which was, well, I didn't know what the next answer was going to be, but I was willing to take what answer he gave me. And if he said pick up a white chip, that's what I would have done. And so he didn't say pick up a white chip, but he said write down your new sobriety date. Well, you can imagine how much that just, I say it didn't crush. I tell people that it's not a big deal, and now it's really not a big deal. But I do have 2 sobriety dates, and that's just how I see it. Well, I have 2 dates, one of weed and one of alcohol. I can't in good faith throw out almost 14 years of not drinking and not be part of my story. And so I asked I got to a point where, sometimes there's personal conversations that you got to have with that sponsor, and it's got to be somebody that you can have those with. And whether it be marriage problems or kid problems or bank account problems, whatever it is, I need somebody to speak with. And so I asked my old sponsor way back in the day if he would become my sponsor again, and he said, yeah. And we went through the steps, and where I realized that I had not turned my life over. But I left out one quick thing. In this succession of failures, one thing that did come about all of this is I got linked up with this pastor, and he said, Corey, he said, you're missing something in your life. He was very honest. And I said, well, what is that? He said, well, you're missing Jesus Christ. I said, no, I believe in God. I pray every morning. He said, no, it's different. He said, everybody says they believe in God. He said, that's kind of like an ego play, because, if you know God, then you don't need to talk about Jesus Christ. He said, but Jesus is the way to God. And I wasn't real. I was just trying. Dude, it was, I've been averse to the whole Jesus thing for a long time. Now, my brother is a pastor. We don't talk about it. But I called him and I said, what do you think about this guy? He said, Corey, look at it like this. You wouldn't go to court to talk to a judge without an attorney, would you? I said, no. He said, Jesus is the attorney. He said, Jesus is the pathway through to God. And it really, that analogy completely made sense to me, because I've been in court enough times. And so that next week, I think I got saved, which has been 7 or 8 weeks now, something like that. And so, the AI project is on hold because it's going to cost me a fortune to build it out. Plus, somebody kind of took the idea that I had an NDA signed with, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't really matter. It's not like I can fight it. And that's not poor me. That's just, it is what it is. And so ever since then, I've been painfully and truthfully walking through these steps and just getting really, really honest. And I've attended church every single Sunday since, which is just bizarre for me to even say out of my mouth. It's been wild. It's been wild.
Thanks for sharing your story, man. Very cool. There's a lot of pieces in here. I'm just curious between me. Do you want to see some cool shit? Or do you just want to share your story?
Yeah, go for it.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Warrior, thank you so much for being a part of the information that we have. And you're part of our story as we are a part of yours. It's very much an honor to be able to connect with each other. If you want to know more or you want to get started with working with me or working with our warriors so that you can begin your path to authenticity, strength, leadership, and accountability, this is the way. Together, we are way stronger. Now you get to choose. Do you go forward or keep doing what you've always done? If you stay where you're at, hey, click on some of the stuff and follow what it is. We got motivational stuff. We've got podcasts. We got more things. Just subscribe and do the stuff and we'll keep you updated. But if you want to start going in, Start jumping into what our programs offer and start your journey and being the hero in your own story.
All right, you have a lot of systems in here that are created, and it's for multiple things. And it's interesting that you started off with like the training bra thing and an embarrassing thing, and it went from like something where you're like, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, to all these reasons that it seems like afterwards, every single system that you created was some form of flight system. You're getting away from something or moving away from some sort of pain or not deal with something. Every single thing with alcohol, with cocaine, with weed, with relationships, with God, every single thing that you have is some sort of move away from pain system. It's some sort of get away from something. And I don't know if you found what is it that you were like trying to get away from, where you needed, like it's a denial system where I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to go into that shit. I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to accept that. I don't want to be like that. I don't want, it's always a move away that you have in almost all your parts of your story, whether it be move away from love, move away from accountability, move away from Jesus, move away from, you know, I don't know. It seems like there's like this, I need to get the fuck out of system, or maybe even like move away from being average or like everyone else. You know, I don't want to be insignificant. And so I need to get away from being what everybody else is telling me to be. I don't know. Like there seems to be a flight system that's built in and come from being not good enough when you were younger. So now I have to move away from maybe even not being good enough. Did you ever find what that is you're trying to get away from?
Never even looked at that, to be honest. Yeah, that's really interesting. In my brain, I also have ADHD. In my brain, I've done a lot of things, and like I'm this significant individual, right? But as I look back, I do jump around a lot, and I'm never really satisfied with anything. And I am always looking for maybe the next thing, maybe the next whatever. And I always fill that void with something. Always. I don't know what it is. I don't know why that is.
It's part of the denial system. There's something that there's a hole there that I don't want anything near. When I talk about avoidance, I break it up into 3 different words. Avoid dance. This is me trying to skirt away from the spot I don't want anybody near. I'm trying to deflect the conversation, or I'll have some FOMO attitude where I fear of missing out. So I'm going to go and do the next thing or jump into something cool or squirrel or over here. And we'll blame ADHD and we'll blame other things to make it so I don't have to go into that fucking shithole. I go towards where it hurts. I don't want to talk about where I'm not good enough. I don't want to talk about the pain. I don't want to get into that shit. Screw all that. I don't want any of that conversation. Why did that marriage fail? Why did this go wrong? Why did this fall apart? 'Cause fucking life happens. Let's go do something fun. Like, it makes perfect sense, but it's avoidance. It's avoid dance. I don't want to go near this giant hole in my soul. I don't want to talk about it. Let's go do something else, or let's do anything to feel good, and avoid feels bad. I don't want to go there. What are you going to do? Talk about my fucking feelings? Well, maybe we're going to actually do some real work. Let's fill the hole. It all sounds like garbage. It sounds like fluffy bullshit. Let's go do something significant. Let's go do something that matters. Let's go make a difference. Let's do something that makes it so people can see how awesome I really am and not talk about the things that I'm not. I'm not the kid who needs a fucking training bra. I'm the guy who's going to change the world.
That's about right.
Yeah, so we got an avoid dance. We got to dance around the hole. What the hell's in the hole, man? Because there's some little kid in there who just got his heart ripped out that you put in this hole to make sure nobody goes near. So you built some really impressive defenses around this thing. In fact, they're gold-plated and beautiful, but they will also spike you in the face. So don't come near it. Like, so what is the thing that we're trying to get away from? Because there's a part of you inside of there that's you're calling it ego and stuff, or maybe you're using the ADHD thing, which I'm going to kind of go a different direction. Whenever I work with people on this stuff, people call these things disorders. They call it like you have something wrong with you. Listen, back in hunt and gather day, you would have been one of our best hunters. squirrel, deer, rabbit. Like you'd be one of the best dudes. You'd be like, man, he's a provider. He sees it when we don't see it. Like you'd be one of the best. You put you in certain fields, you put you in hospital, ER, you put you in chef, like, and you need to see 50 different things at one time. You're one of the best in the business, but in regular life, you're a disorder. There's a problem. There's something wrong with you. Well, your ADHD probably makes it so you can go through your file system faster than other people can because you can jump around through different files and check it out really quickly. Well, maybe a little bit slower, but they'll call them focused.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so just because you don't go through your files slowly doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It's just, are you good at being able to go through as quickly as you need to in an effective way? Your brain's not broken. You're most likely brilliant in a different category, and people call you fucked up. Well, thanks for the judgment, but I would have been the best hunter in the clan had this been 400 years ago.
I do believe that if there is something that interests me, I will be the best at it. And I'll probably get it fairly quickly. But if I am not very interested in it, no fucking chance.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to do it. Like, it doesn't even matter what's attached to it. I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah. So what are you trying to look for then? Because it seems like you're jumping into all these different things to find you. But I wonder if it's the other way. It's not outward that you need to go do a thing to find you. If it's not somewhere in this whole side of your soul that you've been avoiding since you were super little to even let anyone near. Because you've been trying to cover it up with alcohol and weed and maybe even women or success or something. You're trying to get away from whatever that thing is, but there's something in there where someone shot a hole through you, man.
I did forget to tell you, when I mentioned that I would tell you about comparing myself to other people. Mm-hmm. I went in, this will fit exactly what you're saying, in 2020, and I did 2 different ayahuasca journeys looking for something. I don't know what exactly. And in one of those journeys, I was looking around. It was the first one. I was looking around, I was throwing up, and I wasn't throwing up at the time. But I was looking around and everybody was doing all these, flopping around and laughing or crying or whatever. Right. And I was like, wonder why I'm just like, I'm coherent. I know what's happening. Like what is going on? And it was just like you and me talking. There was a voice that said, you compare yourself to everybody. Yeah. You're not here for them. You're here for you. Mm-hmm. And that was a really profound moment for me. I don't know if I did anything with it. I feel like I may have, but now looking back, I'm not so sure. But I am always looking for the next thing. I'm always looking for the latest and greatest, the thing but it never quite get there.
Yeah. Did you ever figure out who you were comparing yourself to try to be? Who was the epitome of like whatever you thought was good enough?
Well, I think when I got back, if you know anything about the integration period afterwards, a lot of stuff comes, I can't remember what they call it. But things come to you that next week. And it's interesting, but I was mowing my yard with a lawnmower my dad gave me. And I thought, I've always compared my life to where he is financially. Right. Okay. And, there's a 25-year difference there. So I'm never going to be where he is until after he's gone. And so I realized that I didn't communicate very well with my father because of that reason. We had a pretty good relationship, and so I called him and told him. He didn't know I went down and did ayahuasca, but he did after that call. And he was like, well, I've never made you feel that way. And I said, well, I agree with that. I mean, we got a pretty good relationship, but yeah, I don't know why. I don't know.
You said a weird sentence. This is just finances wise. It's not even, you didn't even get in any man stuff. You just put into finances. Like you said, I will never be where he is until he's gone. That was like the exact sentence you just said. Yeah. And that's an interesting belief system that almost if you look at it from 2 different ways, on one hand, it can be like demoralizing and almost limiting that like until dad's gone, I can't be successful. If you look at it word for word. Like I can be as successful as him until he's gone because it took 25 years ahead for him to get it. That's one belief system. It's a limiting belief if you do think about it. It slows you down from being able to achieve because it's almost impossible. I need 25 years ahead to be as far as him, which isn't true. But being able to go like, damn, I have that in there though. That's a piece that's in the way. Like that could also be there. But then also this thing about like success is what my dad is. And I'm not like my dad.
Yeah, and I don't even know that you would even call what my dad is success now that I think about it.
I don't even know your dad.
That's fair.
Yeah, so I don't, this is just parts where like, where is the hole at? That just might be for finances. Who do you think is, I don't know, like really has their shit together for you to compare yourself to go like, man, I am just not like that. I need to be better because like, and it might be multiple categories. One could be physical, one could be emotional, one could be love, one could be religion or faith or spirituality. Like, who are the people that you're like, I'm not like that, 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 but I'm going to try my best to be? Who is it?
Probably a lot of people.
Yeah. And so
Yeah.
now we have a whole bunch of people to try to be. It's almost like this crazy chimera Frankenstein monster of perfection. That this is like this, like the traits from him, the traits from him, the traits from him, the traits from him. Now, when you put them all together, does the Frankenstein monster look like an improved version of you? Does it look like something you can never be?
Something I could ever be.
Well, that's an impossible goal.
Yep.
This means you are cursed now to live your entire life never being good enough. It's a worthiness curse because you created an impossible standard, which means even if you were the most financially successful, the best looking, the strongest, the most emotionally healthy, physically healthy, spiritually healthy, smartest guy in the room, you're still never going to be good enough.
That's right.
Well, how do you actually find peace then? How do you ever find purpose? How do you ever find significance if you're just never going to be good enough, even if you were the best?
I don't know that I found that yet.
Well, it seems like even if you found it, it wouldn't be good enough.
Yeah, you're right.
So
because I would always want more.
Yeah, it's the other
or
way.
Different.
There's a part of you that's never full, always hungry. There's a part in there, and we want to try and call it ambition. That would be nice, right? We call it drive. That would be really romantic. I like that idea. But maybe it's inadequacy. You're like, well, fuck that. That sounds terrible. I don't like that. Let's call it drive. Let's call it ambition. Let's call it motivation. Like, maybe it's pain.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think it's motivation.
No, I'm just being overly romantic on something.
Right. Yeah. But we disguise it as ambition or whatever you want to feel. Yeah. Any of those things, for sure.
Here's an insight on this. These are all denial curses. This means there's a loss system or something that fucking hurt you so bad that I'm just trying to compensate it by something that I believe is better. Instead of dealing with the reality of something that hurts so damn bad, I don't even want to talk about it. Now, this may even be some repressed memory, which is why you're like, I want to work on it. That's why I did ayahuasca. I want to find that so I can work on it. And it may be so repressed that maybe I don't even know where to go, And so it's hard to say. I don't know. Like you said, I had a good childhood. I had nothing really wrong. I don't know what it was. There's something deep in there that makes you not good enough, though. Well, that's a doubt curse with denial, which you're trying to be something inauthentic so you can be good enough, but you have a curse that means even if you were to fake it till you make it, even if you make it, it's not authentic, so you're still never going to be good enough, even if you did it. That means winning is losing. How do you ever find success if winning means losing?
I haven't found it yet.
You won't find it that way. That's
by my standards, right? By my standards, I've never found it. But if you think a lot of people, and this could be, I do things for significance, right? Yes. I wrote the book for significance, so I could say I'm an author, right?
That's really funny. Is that the name of your book? I didn't know that.
It should be.
Okay, I should be. Yeah.
It's 9 simple steps to sell more shit. But and I thought that was going to be the thing. It's not the fucking thing.
It's not the thing.
Podcasting.
Mm-mm.
And it's really tiring. It's really tiring because and it's almost like I know people know. Like, I'll give you a great example. I started working with a plumbing company 3 years ago. I don't think I've ever told anybody this. And I had success by all standards, I think. I never worked in a plumbing company in my life, but I coached their sales team, never worked with plumbers. And I would say we had success. And since then, I've worked with a few other trade companies, never a plumbing company, not another plumbing company, never worked for an HVAC company. Now, this is going to be interesting. But somehow last summer, I became the chairperson for the Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Contractors Association Auxiliary Committee. And like, I don't even know how to explain that. I don't know.
That's fantastic. You became like a chairperson for something that you've never done.
Basically.
That's hilarious.
I still am that person, but like, and I was like, this is going to give me the notoriety that I need. Yeah.
What notoriety did you want? What did you feel like you needed? Like, was it to be a status? Like some kind of like, I'm the man of some type? Like, what were you looking for? What thing would have made it so you had enough status or significance that you would feel like you were there? You made it.
Well, I always measure everything financially, right? I always measure everything financially, which probably keeps me from financial success.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like I know a lot about a lot of things, but I'm not really great at one thing, right? I'm really good at a lot of things, but I'm not great at one single thing. And I think I keep trying to figure out what that thing is, but I don't stay with it long enough.
Yeah.
Because I get bored with it. And I'm like, okay, well, like, we built this MVP and like, it sounds cool and all, but like, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of done with that.
I did it. Next thing.
I did it. Yeah, next. Who gives a shit? It's
interesting that you say I measure success through finances. You measure dad through finances. You measure stuff through finances. How much finances is so I want to be aware of how much is it that makes you successful?
I don't know. I've ever even looked at it.
We don't even have a success number. It could be $100 or $1 million. I don't know what success is.
Yeah, I think it's always been $1 million, right? I think it's just kind of, I just assume that's. Do I have $1 million? I do not.
Is your dad?
No.
But your dad's still pretty successful, right? Because he's 25 years ahead of you financially.
Right. But the reality is he that successful?
Well, not $1 million successful, but then it gets into what is success, because you started going to church every Sunday, and if Jesus is your attorney, what is his attorney fees?
I guess 10%.
10%? Oh, you're going off of tithing. Interesting.
I mean, I'm just doing what I think. I'm just doing it shit, I don't know, dude. I'm just playing the game so I can get to the end, I guess. I'm not really sure what I'm doing.
Yeah, it's cool, man. Thank you for sharing stuff. This is cool. It's cool to see where you're at in your journey. And there's a lot of these things where I'm glad to see you hitting the wall, because that's where breakthroughs are. You have to hit the wall. You have to hit that spot where you're like, what the fuck, man? This isn't working at all. Like, we need it. And I think people discount the value of these rock bottom moments where we'll go through the paces so it looks right. But then at some point, it actually has to be sincere. And like, you're getting to the point where like I did until I made it so many times that even if I made it, it didn't feel like I made it.
Right.
Because if we're living in a denial and we're living in a persona and we're living as an identity that's not authentic, who's really successful then?
I don't even know if I know who that person is. Like,
one of your masks is really successful.
For sure.
And you're a chameleon. You can morph into any group. Seamlessly. And if they need you to be a certain way, they need you to be on, you're on. They need you to be in the back, you're in the back. If they need you to run a camera, you can run a camera. If they need you to be the star, you can be the star. What do you need? I can turn that mask on.
Yeah, 100%. I'm super good at that part, which makes it very confusing to know what's real, what's really there.
Right.
Feels like nothing.
It's a constant struggle, because if you were really you and you ever got exposed again, I bet you it would probably feel a lot like when those girls said you need a training bra.
Well, I'll share something really interesting. I because of this mask, and I'm fully aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone into, not publicly on Facebook, but in these private groups where I've had these masks of being this whatever the fuck consultant, coach, whatever. I did a post about what was going on in my life, and that I financially wrecked everything, and that I was looking to work for somebody, and that's humbling for me because I haven't worked for somebody in 10 years. And I think what I'm about to tell you is probably, I mean, I shared about it, and I got some feedback, some good, mostly good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I used that for two things. I used it to get honest because I was tired of carrying it around. And I also used it as a sales tool, so to speak, right? So let me put this out there. Let's see what happens. People will see that I'm real raw. And the reality is, I don't know how it landed. I just don't know. I don't know. I don't even know if it was the right thing, but it felt like I had lost some weight after that.
Yeah. There's a saying that I have when it comes to denial, because denial is the war with what is. And you're in battle here. You're in the battlefield of the mind. You're going through the fight right now. I'm going to say a sentence that, like, at some point when it hits you and you start letting some of the pieces go, denial's not free. People think it's the easy way. I don't want to think about the bad stuff. I want to avoid that shit. I don't want to be inadequate or fat or stupid or not good enough or, unsuccessful, whatever the measurement is, whatever it is. So I'll put the mask on. I don't want to look insecure. I don't want to look, unstable. I don't want to look weak. I don't want to look whatever. Like whatever it is, I don't want to look like that. So I'll look or perceive myself or put a persona up as this. And the worst thing, and this is probably where you're running into the hardest problem for this, is you're running into the worst thing that could happen. You're good at it.
Yeah.
The thing that can happen is you win, is you pretend to be what you think they want, and they love it. And you're like, I can change into whatever you need. But at some point, and this is where the imposter syndrome stuff starts to creep in, is you can't continue to grow into significance that you want when you're trying to grow different personality types. Who's really growing? Who's growing? The salesman? Is it the husband? Who's growing? Which is it, the speaker? Is it which guy's growing? Who is it? Which guy are we working on today? Which one is going to be the one? Because the reality is once you start doing honesty and once you start doing real work, you're going to start cracking your masks and people will start seeing through your bullshit.
Yeah.
And a part of you, there's a dark part of you that really wants them to, because you're fucking tired of wearing all of these costumes, man.
Yep.
Wish I could just drop them all. And then there's a contradiction though, because on one hand, you want to be different and special and unique and significant and wonderful, but you also want to be approved of and loved by others, even though you're nothing like them.
Right.
Well, that's a conundrum in itself. I don't like you, but I also want you to approve that I'm not like you.
Right.
Oh, shit. How do I navigate that world, man?
It ain't easy.
Now take on top of that, like, you're a heart side warrior. The feelings become reality. There's a lot of stuff in here that like, that sucks, or and odds are if I had you pegged, you can probably go into the muck a little bit and sit in there, and other people would be very uncomfortable with some of this you're able to tolerate.
100%.
And in fact, whenever you share the darkness, most people freak the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it gets pretty dark.
Mm-hmm. Even more weird, and this is probably where, tell me there's not a shame stack in there, that sometimes you go into these dark thoughts and you come out and you feel better. And it makes you feel like, there's nothing wrong with me. If I can go in and write my own obituary and feel happy, that's fucked up, right? There must be something wrong with me. But for some reason, when you go into this Tim Burton world, this Edgar Allan Poe poem, when you go into this Shakespearean fucking tragedy, you come out feeling a little more energized when everybody else looks depleted.
Take a lot. I can carry a lot. And I don't know if people know it or not, but yeah, I can morph into whatever I need to morph into, and I can carry as much weight pretty much as any I would be willing to bet. And that's not me bragging by any fucking stretch.
No, it's reality. You've got the skill. You have developed this ability. Now it turns into, can you carry the reality of who you really are? Because that seems a lot than these masks. Can you carry the weight of the rejection of somebody who knows who you really are and doesn't like you?
Nope.
Yeah. Well, how heavy can we carry then?
That's a great question. I avoid the rejection.
You have an avoidance. This is denial is the main curse that you've got right now. It's not a bad thing. It's the most common one of all because it disguises itself as protection. It disguises as best friend. You mix that in with distraction. Hey, best friend, let's not shitty stuff. Let's have fun. You know what we love? Getting fucked up. Let's get fucked up. And you're like, you know what? That would be good. You're like, you're gonna be hungover. Your part and you're like, we're gonna be hungover. We got work to do. Like, it's a little hungover. Fuck him. Let's go party. Let's go feel good.
Yep.
And so we move towards feel good because feel bad sucks. And denial dresses it up as like, how about we just push this in the quarantine closet if we don't ever open this piece of shit door? And accountability, I'm gonna go kick his ass and then throw him out and let's go party. Like, then that becomes the reality. And it's not free though, because who you really are is locked away. Who you really are is shunned and shamed and put down because who you really are isn't good enough. So let's go be something that is. That's denial. It dresses you up as something magnificent, unique, different, better. But yeah, it's not free, man. Because then the reality of time starts to kick in. There's a realization that you're going to have that wake up call that you look inward and you look at yourself and you go, I've been alive for this many years. How many of those years did I live as me? And how many of those years did I live as something else? Which means denial is your life, quite literally, minute by minute. It makes you live as something that is not you, which gives all these minutes away. For what? What's the gain? I lose time, relationships, authenticity, connection, significance. I actually ends up becoming all bullshit. And even if I win, I feel empty.
Yeah.
The way or the answer isn't the solution. So I know this is going to be a little more frustrating. The answer is obviously being able to surrender to yourself. And probably the fastest way for you at this point to do it is to at least go through your attorney and surrender to your trust to at least your attorney. And in this case, your attorney is Jesus. And I don't normally go to Jesus route. I don't. I'm a psychologist. I go that direction. But I had to surrender too. And I did not think that my purpose would be found in the spirit side. I did not. I'm like, no, this is going to be in the logic side. It's going to be in philosophy. It's going to be in psychology. It's going to be in some sort of warrior action step. There's no way the spiritual side is going to be where my purpose is. Fuck me. That's where it was. But in order to do that, your ego is not your amigo. And you have to go, I surrender, man. I give up. Not give up because I won't try. I just give up. I need to be in control. It needs to be my way. There's a lot of things, even with this conversation, we don't know what we're walking into. And so I got to go, all right, listen, who's in control here? I got 5 different calls today. You're one of them. I'm like, take the wheel, God. Who do I get to meet today? I don't know yet. And some of these will end up becoming great conversations and breakthrough moments. And some of it will just be we laugh a little bit and then we go on with our is what it is. But I got to let God take the wheel. Some will be lifelong connections. Some will be clients. Some will be just people we talked to once. Take the wheel, God. I'm not controlling this boat. Who am I supposed to know? Bring them to me. I'm not the one calling the shots on this. I just do my purpose in whatever it is he's bringing in my day. Well, fuck. My logic side does not like that at all. My calendar does not agree. My finances and my bank account says that's not a good business strategy.
Right.
When I did a surrender, especially like just to give you insight, I've been doing this for a lot of years unknown.
All right.
And I think you can relate. You've been doing this for a lot of years and people don't know me. They don't know me. Some do, but they don't know me. They don't know me. I've been doing this for a long time. And we ended up blowing up on social media. I've been doing social media stuff for a long time. I had a whole other company before this. And it wasn't until I fully surrendered. And I said, you know what? It's not on me anymore. I give up. I give up my heart. I give up my life. I give up my soul. And I went towards the faith aspect. Now, am I preaching Christianity? Not. That's just how I went. Some people go law of attraction. Some people go vibration. Some people go into manifestation in other ways. I don't care what they choose. God made them all. So pick one. I go to prayer and I go, I surrender to you. Let me serve you in the way that you see fit. Work through me. Help me see people in a way they can't see so I can show them the way that they need to go so they can journey effectively. Give me the sight. Give me the wisdom. You know how you get wisdom? You get your ass kicked. That's how you get wisdom. Because you learn 3 times faster when you lose than you do when you win. So I fucked around. I prayed for wisdom. You know what happened when I prayed for wisdom? Got my fucking ass kicked. He's like, there you go. You learned 3 times faster. I'm like, okay, God, I got enough wisdom. Thank you. Please stop with the wisdom. I got it. I got it. Lesson learned. I got you. So if Jesus is the attorney, he's not asking for tithing and 10%. That's the church, man. Well, let's challenge a little bit. Let's go the spirit route, because I think that's going to be, I think you're a heart warrior. I can feel your heart from here. I think the inside of there is a fucking good dude with a damaged heart. I think your heart got hurt bad, real bad. I don't know how, but something hurt it. And I think that's your greatest strength, but it's become one of your greatest weaknesses. It's a weird thing, man. I think if you're going heart and spirit side, it's going to give you a better standing to start working on that mindset and that warrior side. It's going to start with your side and then build yourself up in the weaker sides, is what it is. And you may even be more heart warrior, versus like, the mindset spirit, I don't know. This is your journey and I don't judge it. It's just where you're at. But if you go in and say, I'm going to start surrendering that I need to do it my way and let Jesus be your attorney. Jesus didn't go to church and he wasn't tithing to whatever the local place was. He was all over the place. And whenever he said, I'm going to pray, he'd go alone, quiet, alone. He said, close the door behind you. He wasn't out trying to speak in front of everybody in tongues and shit. He wasn't making a show. It wasn't a spectacle. He's like, I'm here for my Father. I'm here to serve. And so I'm following that dude. I'm like, I'm here to follow and I'm here to serve. Well, here's the question for you. What is the criteria for you to be able to follow someone? Who's worthy of you to be able to go, I just follow you? So far, I don't think you met that guy. You like ideas.
Right.
You're like, I'm not following this motherfucker though.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's because you have to do one of the harder things for curses on this one. There's some curses that need to be broken and you need to smash them. Some do. There are some things that are actually demons that need to be fought and killed. And one of the harder ones, this one, sometimes you just need to let it go. But you're white knuckling this control thing, because what happens if you don't have control? How can you ever be good enough if you're not in control? Something happens. I don't know what it is. There's some hole inside of there where the answers are all thrown in here in this fucking pit that we don't let anyone near. But in order to get in, like, well, I'm just going to unlock the doors and surrender. Go ahead. When you let it go, man, you're going to feel like a grown man steps off your chest, man. It's bonkers. And
describe let it go. Paint me a picture, because I sometimes don't even know if I know what the fuck that means.
So all of these masks that you're wearing are all for a purpose. None of them are stupid. They're all very tactical, and each one has a reason why you built them. It's part of a protection system, trying to be the best that you believe other people would approve of. There's an approval thing needed. There's an attention thing needed. There's a love thing needed. There's something there that you need. But the way you're doing it is so inauthentic. Even when you get what you want, it doesn't feel good. So you're holding on to these personas and these masks because they've gotten some form of success. I'll give you one example for me. I grew up in Sparta. I grew up in a very hostile environment. I was shitside Detroit. I grew up a couple miles from M&M for 8 Mile. It's not a nice area. It's not a nice place. It's a hostile environment at best, and I grew up in an abusive home. Hostility and violence was a regular thing. The number one currency for this place is respect. How to get respect? Be fucking hard. Be mean. Be cold. Well, when you're in a tough environment and you're tough, mean, hard, and cold, people respect that. Don't fuck with that guy. We'll choose that guy. It gives the illusion that he could be a protector because he's tough and mean and don't take shit from nobody, right?
Right.
Can't run a family that way. Can't attack your pack. You can't be the meanest, hardest, and the toughest when you got kids or family or wife. Can't do that shit. It doesn't work. Well, that system has gotten me so much respect and success in that environment, but I don't live in Sparta anymore. And so here I am around a dancer, a baker, a merchant, and a painter. I'm in here going, and they're like, why is he yelling? We don't like it. They don't feel safe. They don't feel protected. But that entire system has gotten me so much success. Brotherhood, camaraderie, fear, women, winning. I had to abandon this entire system in order to be a good dad. Now, don't get me wrong, there's still a lion in here. If somebody wants to come in and try and hurt my girls, they've got to go through a tough guy. But I cannot use this system. And how often is somebody coming in the house to try to attack? It's very, 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 very rare. In fact, it hasn't happened in this building yet. So what system do I need to be is completely opposite of the system that I had for success. My entire system contradicts my entire reality. What I need to authentically be to connect with our daughters. Well, I have to abandon my entire strength system. I have to go reverse. In fact, instead of being hard, cold, calculated to get respect, I need to be vulnerable, open, and loving. What the fuck? This sounds like it'll make me 10 times weaker. There's no way being tough and hard and strong is weaker than being vulnerable, open, and hurt and in a heart attack. There's no way. 10 times stronger. The version of you that's real is 10 times stronger than all of these fake personas. But you've had so much success with these personas. It's 10 times more if you let them go. Because not only will you be doing something that makes you feel fulfilled, you'll be finding a place that's actually yours. And you'll own a victory, even if it's not as grand as the MVP of Memphis. It'll be yours. And it'll feel better because you won it. You got it. It's your win. Not your masks, not your persona, not your alter ego. The reason you haven't felt that connection is you've protected yourself from whatever it was that was really in there because people are fucking mean.
I can't argue with that at all.
So that's one version of let go. My surrender to God, I had to give him all of my garbage. I'll tell you what, this is part of my purpose, and maybe this will help you with a breakthrough. I hope it does. When I went through the psychology route and the philosophy route, I went through all of the things that would be considered disorders, all of the things when it came to abuse, abandonment, rejection, addiction, all of the pieces that I had inside here. Everything was labeled correctly. Everything was categorized the right way. Everything was its own little special storage bin. All of it was organized. So I stacked all of my storage bins, everything accordingly. This is all the abuse. This is the emotional abuse, physical abuse. This is abandonment. This is when my dad left. This is when my mom left. This is when I was rejected here. This is broken heart shit. Everything's all labeled. It's all beautiful. And I have this mountain of filled bins, all correct. I know the diagnosis. I know exactly what that is. But yet I'm still sitting here with a mountain of fucking pain. And it's just organized now. And I'm like, I did all of the things I read. I did all the grieving processes. I did all of the things. What the fuck am I missing? Why is it still hurt? Even if I know what it is, I know the answers. Well, the answers are not the solution. So there was a wall that I was hitting, just like you're hitting now. What the fuck am I hitting? I'm hitting something. When I did that 4 a.m. My baby's sleeping next to me. My girl's sleeping next to me. She's sawing logs, and I'm sitting here talking to God. I don't talk to God that often. At this point, usually I use, whenever I go into this book right here, this book, I would weaponize this book on you. I'll whoop your ass with this book. Oh, you didn't read the 2 sections before that when Jesus says you're an idiot. You didn't read that shit? I've got you. You know, you want to go to Deuteronomy and talk about some bullshit everywhere's gospel? I got you. Let's make it fucking weird. Like, I would use that book as a weapon. So here I am talking to the guy who's the creator, going, listen, I don't know what it is. I did all the things that was me. I did all the things that's on me. I'm the one. I can control it. I can let it go. I'm the center of the universe. And it's not working. So you know what? I stop. It's not me. I give it to you. And then I could hear, it's not an audible, you know, when people say I talk to God. God works through me in the craziest ways. Now, I was closed to him. When I opened that up, I have created psychology tools that even top psychologists now are like, holy shit, this is the best I've seen so far. And I'm like, it came to me at 3:30 in the morning. It wasn't even mine. I think God gave me this one. I just woke up. He said, build this. And I'm like, okay. And then I would build it and it can't be broken. Weird starts happening. So in that moment, the voice that I heard in there was, this mountain of organized pain that you have is less than a grain of sand to me. Give me it. And I was like, it's a lot to me, man. Are you sure? He's like, it's less than 1 grain of sand. Give it to me. I said, fine. Take it. Take it. I got nothing. All my things aren't working. It's yours. And I'm not kidding when I'm telling you, it's like if a 300-pound dude just stepped off my chest. I was like, like I could breathe. I was like, what the fuck is that? My logic brain says this cannot be the answer. But for some reason, I had never felt lighter and more connected. There is no way this is the answer, but it was. And now he said, and if you ever look, and this is something why your story is significant, you had to go through all the shit you went through to help people through that shit. And I'm like, this is not fun. He's like, I want you to go in and go into hell and go and find these people who are suffering, help take that hell out of them, and then bring it to me. I'm like, I got to carry their hell out of them. I got to take their damage, take their wounds, take the rape, the murders, the killing, the loss, the pain, the trauma, the every PTSD, the BPD, you name it, you take it. He's like, yeah, you take it all on yourself, bring it to me. It's less than a grain of sand to me. Bring them to me. Say, God, it's a shit job, dude. I don't think God asks us to do easy things. And if you think your purpose in life is supposed to be some fairy tale fun thing, I don't think the reason that he made us is because we're supposed to live lives like fairy tales. I think we're supposed to find connection and love with each other, and being able to find what your purpose is most likely not going to be an easy deal. And so maybe you had to go through so much hell because there's something inside of you that's real, that'll actually connect with somebody. And it's time to let go of the masks because they served you already, so you can find, and odds are the reason you had them is because you'll see through someone's camouflage so fucking fast that you'll go, I know what that pain is, but you have to beat this curse yourself in order to help them out. And you'll be able to see right through those masks. You're like, I had that mask. That's a Joker mask. I know that one. Ah, you got that salesman mask. I know that one. I know that mask. I know that. But I can see through it. And inside of there is a hurt guy. Let's help that guy so we don't need the mask anymore. But you have to beat the curse before you help others beat the curse, man. You got to break it first.
And you know, that's interesting because one thing that's come up is that you can't give, let's see, basically you can't help somebody else if your own house is not in order. Now, I knew my house was not in order, but I didn't know how to put it in order. No earthly idea, other than the steps that I'm taking. And I did, you know, one thing that I think that you'll find interesting, when I went back to A, a lot of that was due to that conversation with the guy, right? It wasn't just that. It was my daughter had done a string of things that I tried to fix. I tried to figure it out. And I fucking almost drove myself into the ground, or pretty much did, because I didn't know what to do. And I still don't have an answer to it, and I'm not looking for it because, look, I know that I can't control things in my life. I can't control what you do. I can't control what she does. But sometimes, lots of times, I still try to control it. Yeah. God, how do you completely go? It's very hard.
It's actually simple and easy are not the same. It's simple to say, open your hands, but you've had this on there for 30 years. So it's like feeling like, who do I have to give it to? What do I have to do? Where do I put this? Is there a thing I'm supposed to take it to? You're like, no, just leave it on the ground. You're like, I can't, it's been with me. It means too much. I can't, just leave it on the ground.
Yeah. What place on the ground? Over here or over there? Which way? I want to make sure I do.
Yes, just put it on the ground and walk away. You're like, yeah, I don't want to do it. It's an interesting journey we're on, man. And there are steps to do things, and there are ways to do it. And I do teach people the steps. I don't just talk theory, because right now it's all theory at the moment. But there is step by steps to do these things. There is a way. But it takes months when I renovate somebody's entire belief system. It's not like, it would normally take 10 to 20 years. But if I put every belief system that you've survived on right now without putting in the new ones that actually make it stand up, it's very, very painful. A lot to go through. It's a lot, it's almost a traumatic experience, So there's a lot there. But I think that you're at a good spot where I think my purpose today in this conversation is just to go, I see what you're doing. And I've done it with a lot of guys with this curse. You're not my first one with this, man. That's why I know what you're talking about. I'm like, we've beaten this. I know you want it to be this, but I'm just telling you, it's this way. And then you'll find what you are looking for. And you're like, but my default program has always gone this way. And I'm like, and you're lost because it's that way.
Yeah. It's like the fucking Truman Show.
Mm-hmm. Something's wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Without a doubt.
We got to get out of this dang bubble, man. But once you're out of the bubble, you have to be you.
Yeah. I don't know who that is.
Enjoy the journey, man. Because then it's actually even a more exciting adventure to figure out who you are. What a cool thing. It's almost like going on a date with you and ask you questions. Like, I got some questions to figure you out. And you're going to have weird answers. And even crazier is turn your awareness all the way up on, did I answer it with one of my masks?
Probably.
Because if you find one, see if you want to keep it or not. And you're like, this one has gotten me the most pussy, though. And you're like, didn't get you pussy. Got them pussy. No. Get rid of this. This one got me the most money, though. They give you how much money you want? Oh, no. Like, get rid of it. This one got me the most friends, though. I'm like, where are those friends at? They're all gone. Okay.
Well, I didn't anticipate this today.
Nobody ever does with me, man.
Of course not. But this is, I know you're genuine. Like, I do. I know that I can feel that in my heart. But it's also a very smart way that you go about doing this. I dig it.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, dude. It's a really smart way. I like it.
You're on mission now, brother. Now you at least see the path to take that gets you what you're really looking for, something you've been looking for years. I'm like, it's a shit road, but that's the road. And you're like, oh, what's it going to be like? I'm like, oh, it's a fuck show, man. It's got potholes everywhere. It's a mess. But at the end of it, you will never be more fulfilled about anything in your life. It is going to be the best you've ever felt. But you're just on the wrong road. You're going the wrong way, man.
Yeah.
When you let this stuff go, man, you're being free is going to it's a wild feeling, man. And you'll be able to start, because I think you're a heart side warrior. I think that you'll be able to connect with people in a way that you've never been able to do. And then your posts, when you said something like, I can't post something honest like this because I can't show my dad, you won't have any of that. The reason that a lot of my warriors, I have a large group of men, the reason that they follow me is not because I'm perfect. It's because I share my journey with them, because I also have to go through the battles that they do. And I do not tell them to do something they haven't done or won't do. And so I go, hey, I'm fighting heart side. I'm getting my ass kicked today. I don't go in, talk about I'm only strong, I'm only perfect. I am not. And they go, that makes me respect you every day because you're fighting the fight. And that makes me want to fight. So the more authentic that I am, the more that people will follow me. But not because I need the attention, but because this is the way it's done. And I want them to win, and I want you to win. But real winning is not having your persona win or having a bank account. It's going to be when you look in the mirror and go, I fucking dig this dude. It's a wild ride, man. There's a lot of layers, though. You're going to have to start getting rid of one mask after another mask. And you're like, but I'm a master, a grand master. So was I. I was highly respected for being a fucking badger. I didn't give a shit. I'd fight the biggest dude. I didn't give a fuck. It does not serve me as a pack leader, though. It makes me reckless, separates people from me, makes me a liability. And I'm old now, so me getting in fights is a stupid idea. Takes me like 5 weeks to recover. These aren't made for smashy. These are made for righty.
Right. Immediately when you said that, I thought, then what part of this authenticity do I need to put out there? Immediately, that's what I thought. Which
part scares the shit out of you?
Well, doing that post inside of those two groups scared the shit out of me.
How do you feel about it?
I do feel like I'm growing in the right direction. It was really hard. That fucking thing, I typed it how many times?
I just did a training on this with a lot of the guys. I did it with my women also. I look at the resistance almost like a lighthouse. Now, if there's something that like, ooh, that doesn't, I don't want to do that. Your warrior side needs to kick in and go, then we go toward it. You're like, nope, I have an entire flight system that's been working pretty good so far. I get the fuck out of there. You're like, no, I'm going to go toward. If there's a resistance, that shows me where to go. That's the lighthouse to go. That's where you need to go do the work. If there's something that you're resisting, like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to follow that. I don't want to let that go. I don't want to fight that thing. I don't want to let someone in. If there's a resistance, well, now you have the lighthouse, the flashlight is on. Well, that's what you need to work on then, because if you can't do it, that's where you work. And look at your resistance.
Exact point. Literally, I kid you not. I have been a business owner. I've not owned shit. Like, I've just been fucking spinning my wheels. And I 100% did not want to get a job. 50% didn't want to get a job because then I'd have to do what somebody else said.
Yeah.
But I did. I applied for jobs, and I got the first one that I went and interviewed for. And as soon as I got it, as soon as I thought I was going to get it, they said, well, then you take this test. I took the practice test like 25 times before I took it because I'm like, I don't want to fail the test, but I don't really want the job. So fuck it. I'll just take the test and see what happens. It took me 5-6 days to take the test. And this is not traits of somebody that actually wants a job with the company, right? You don't dick around with stuff like that.
Right.
So I took the test. They called me. They said, yeah, perfect. You got it. I'm like, okay. Well, they said, well, I don't know, your availability is like the 1st of July. I'm like, well, what else you got? What the fuck? They're like, oh, we can start on the 10th. And I'm like, 10th's pretty good. That'll give me some time to figure out what I'm going to do in my brain. That's what I'm saying. And so today I went and took a piss test. And like, I know I am going to stay stuck if I don't take that. I know that because it's the last thing I want to do. So, I'm going to go, I'm going to show up and I'm going to walk through it. And I know on the other side of that, it's going to be what I really want. And is that, it is what it is. And I think, honestly, every step I take towards that, I get a little breadcrumb of something good, right? Every little step that I take, and I push the next step. I push it. Like, I got it. I'm good. So, yeah. But you're right. I believe that.
I'm going to give you a weapon here to use. The fear that you have for if you were to let go of certain things or get rid of personas or open up your heart or open up for damage or whatever the fear may be, fear's not real, man. It's just a possibility of a future that could happen, but most of the time never even does. Danger is different. danger is, if that's there, there's danger. But fear is just what could happen. Maybe they'll make fun of you. Maybe they'll tell you you're stupid. Maybe they'll say you're not the right guy for the job. I don't know. Maybe you get rejected. Maybe you get fired. It's all just maybe, could be, maybe, what if? It's not real. It's not happening. It's all these things that we create. Fear hates courage. In fact, it tries to attack you with the courage or your hope or your faith or your belief right away. Take that away, because if you have courage, you'll go, I know it's scary, but I'm going to do it anyway. And they go, I fucking hate when you're doing that. You should just be scared and don't do anything. Yeah, no, but I think I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to go right toward it. I know it's a big, scary smoke monster with loudspeakers, but it's smoke and noise, and it's not real. And it hates when you challenge it with courage. Now, courage is when you're looking at something that's bigger, louder, and scarier than you, and you say, I'm doing it anyways. Tough thing with courage, though, is that looking at something that's big, loud, scary, and potentially may not go well, it's also the recipe for stupidity, and that's what makes life a little bit hard, is because stupid and courage can be really easy to mix up. You already know the hold my beer.
Right. That's interesting. Yeah, that is really, really interesting. I think my fear is that maybe I will be successful at this job, and maybe I'll make more money than I've ever made, and then I'll just be this guy that does sales remodeling. That's not sexy.
Or maybe it's just the step you have to do to knock off a few of the insincere aspects of yourself, to connect with some people that you're going to work with on an authentic level. That'll make it so when you go to the next thing, you have that much less baggage and this many more connections. Maybe you're only supposed to have one friend that you meet on this journey that helps you go to the next thing, that'll get you to the next thing, that'll get you to the next thing until you are truly you, and then you're doing your purpose. Every single step takes us somewhere. But I'm just going to tell you, it's a lot better to fail as you than it is to succeed as not you. You've already done that enough. Let's go fucking fail, because that'll feel way better than winning is something that we're not. That we've done it. You know where it goes. You can't do it again and live out the definition of insanity, man. You know that.
You're right.
Let's make some new mistakes. Let's try being authentic, and let's fuck it all up, because the road to mastery is us failing in every way we can. And we've got this side covered, so that's done. Let's go fail in some new ways. I do believe I want you to put into your purpose is that you being a master with masks may make it so you can help people find authenticity. But this means you have to get really good at breaking the curse of having to be a chameleon. You have to actually find whatever that is for authenticity. And I don't know if ayahuasca was the way, but maybe it just knocked a couple walls down. But at some point, you're going to have the courage to go to that void that you've been avoiding. Odds are, I'm just going to give you some hope. The thing that hurt so much that you even created the fortress around it, well, that happened when you were not as prepared for things as you are now. And so odds are you were very young when you even built it. So you're far more capable now. You're going to go in there waiting to fight Cerberus, the 3-headed fucking demon dog. And it's going to be a puppy that just never got belly rubs. But when you were small, it was really big.
0 to 7, right?
You didn't know? But now you're going to go in there waiting to fight a demon monster, and it's going to be just a dog that was all alone but barked, and you didn't know what to do. You may be surprised what you find when you go into the spots that you were scared of.
There's some deep shit, dude. Dude, I appreciate you spending this time with me.
Yeah, you caught me at a good spot. Normally I only have an hour. I got 2 more calls to do, but you happen to catch me in a 2-hour block, so give me some more time with you.
I appreciate that.
Gotta let God take the wheel.
Yeah. White knuckling is not working.
Let's make some new mistakes.
Where do we go from here?
What did you want to do? You want to do some? It's up to you. I got a question for you. This is a powerful breakthrough, and I think that I'll send you the recording on this. You can do whatever you want with it, because I do believe that even this story of authenticity and you going, shit, man, I'm putting my shit out there. This may make it so people connect to you way stronger than anything you've been doing before. And if you're stuck going, man, what I'm doing isn't working, maybe really you is who they're looking for.
Oh, that's scary as fuck.
Yeah, it is. Courage time. Do you see?
Well, yeah, as I sit here, I'm like, now, how many things in here do I really want people to know about? Right?
What happens if they know?
Right? Nothing.
This means you force yourself to be authentic and grow. You're going to make it so I know too much and I put too much out to be anything other than me. In fact, I would encourage people to call me out. Are you really being you right now, or are you being a thing? You'd be like, good question.
Right. Right.
I think I'm being a thing right now. You're like, just be you for a second. Good reminder. Okay. And you may find that there's a big part of you that can't wait to connect a heart to a heart. And this may be part of your purpose, is to do something that scares the ever fucking fuck out of you. Because I'll tell you right now, going into people's nightmares and their hells to take their pain is not the funnest job in the world, man. In fact, I very rarely have ever met anybody who ever goes, I want your job. No, I don't want to go into people's fucking hell. I don't want to go into murders and molestations and rapes and nightmares and people being beaten and accidentally killing their brother and all kinds of crazy shit. I don't want to go into that. No. Well, then let's get rid of some of your stuff. I'll give it to God, and then you go help somebody with your thing. I got to go back into hell later.
That's wild shit, dude.
God does not ask easy things. Tell me the story in the Bible who got the easy job.
That's fair. I don't know much about the Bible. I'm working on it, but but yeah, I haven't come across an easy story.
You had to go through this shit because you're going to help people get out of this shit. You're going to later find these curses that you have is part of the this going to be part of the reason that you're so successful, is because you were cursed. Because you'll see it a mile away. I can see when people are dying, man. I can see when they're hurting inside. I can see it. You can't hide it from me. I see through the masks. I know what those are, man. You have that gift because you did. And you're going to see when somebody's really struggling. And I agree with you, too. I don't say, hey, my name is Corey and I'm an alcoholic. No, my name's Corey and I used to be an alcoholic. I'm not one anymore. That belief system is untrue. My name is Corey and I'm a chameleon. No, you used to be. Now you're a connector.
I like it.
There's a lot of digging in there.
There's a lot of digging. Hey, man, I really appreciate this. What can I do for you?
I don't even, what can we do, man? Like, how can I serve or how can you serve? I was just going on to see what's the opportunity. How can we connect? If you're looking to jump in and be one of my warriors, that's a different thing altogether. But if you're like, I was just trying to do a podcast. Well, you just did an impactful one right now, one that would change lives, because you're not the only guy with this curse. I have plenty of them. I have an entire group with this curse. I call it shadow work. This is where the guys go into the darkness and get rid of their chameleon mask, and they also play around in the muck that other people can't play in. And they come out recharged. It's a superpower that people oftentimes shame and shun. If you want to do that shit, that's working with me. If you want to just make some stuff and do some fun recordings, hey, whatever.
Yeah, well, I definitely want to have you on the podcast. I definitely want to have you on the podcast. Of course, money is ridiculous right now, but I would love to hear about what it is you're doing.
Sure. Yeah, if you ever want to do that, we can do something fun. And what's the audience that you have? Like, what's your target audience?
Contractors.
There's a lot of dudes out there who are really good guys who are all alone, but they don't have to be. So I'm happy to talk to those guys, even be able to connect with some of the guys to be able to talk about like wearing the different hats or even having to be all alone in this fucking world. The society right now is telling guys, you have to just cowboy up, figure it out, be a man. And I think we forgot that throughout all history, the reason that men are successful, you can't build a skyscraper on your own. You can't have a one-man football team. And I've never seen anybody say, oh, the Navy SEALs or Delta team all work together. What a bunch of pussies.
Right. It's a great point.
Together we're always stronger. We've always had to lean on each other. And this makes it so that you can protect the very, we can all get to eat tonight. You never saw, Native Americans going out and hunting buffalo with just, one dude.
Right.
No, you got to hunt as a pack.
All right. Well, let's get you scheduled.
Let's do it, man. So if you can, just reach out to Randy because she runs my whole schedule for me.
How do I get a hold of Randy? Is she the one that reached out? I thought a dude reached out to me. Maybe
Randy is a female.
Okay. So yeah. She's cool though.
She's as close to a dude for like a woman that I got because her and her
All right.
husband are pretty cool. Like her husband went through my whole thing. He's actually was one of my coaches for a while, and she runs the back end. So, like I said, I let God take the wheel sometimes, and like these two have been such a blessing to the Warriors way. And so I never saw her. She's run through the women's side. Dominic, he actually was coaching a couple of groups before he went into building tools and doing his strengths. And so it's just pretty cool. Yeah, reach out to her. I just have her manage my schedule because I got like 50 podcasts to be on. So it's like, it's bananas what's happening. But this is because I also had a breakthrough recently, heart side. My heart side was repressed. Just like you've got repressed sides, I had repressed sides. I broke through another one and then we blew up again. God's waiting for you to let go so he can open up the shit you're looking for. So go through it so he can give you what you're looking for. It's crazy, man. Ask me how it works. Fucking, I don't know. I surrendered to it. I got nothing. All I know is it keeps working every time I just go, here's what I want, God. And he's like, do this thing, let it go. And I'm like, fuck it. And he's like, here's a bunch of people.
All right.
Tell me who needs help. Let's do it.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. Thank you for opening up, man. I really appreciate it. Like it's a good moment.
Yeah, it is. I needed that.
Yeah. This is how we salute in the Warriors way. Put our fist over the heart. Means I hold you close, but I also protect you from the bullshit of this world. It's an honor to have this moment.
Dude, the pleasure's on the side of the table, my man. Thank you.
Awesome. I'll send you this. You tell me
Please
if
do.
you want to post it or not. We won't post this until you say like, fucking send it, man.
Yeah, I mean, I send it. If I think about it too much, I'll tell you not to send it.
Super proud of you, bro. Really proud of you. That's a scary moment.
Yeah, no doubt.
Look at your courage already, though. How's that feel?
Feels like we're closer to getting rid of this shit.
Hell yeah, you are. All right, Corey, if we're going to send it, tell people how to listen to your podcast so we can make sure if we're going to do this, how do people listen to you? Where do they go? What are we going to be listening to? What's the name of the podcast?
Oh, Successful Life Podcast. Yep. Successful Life Podcast.
All right. Are we on Spotify? Where are people listening? Where do we go?
Everywhere. Anywhere you can go. We're on every single platform. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
appreciate you, my man.
Schedule with Randy, and I'll spend some more time with you. We'll do some fun stuff.
All right, my man. Talk to you soon.
Later, Corey.
Later, brother.
Click on the button and you can become the hero in your own story. It's time to start making the choices to change. And the evolution that you're going to do begins with choosing the next step. This is the way. And together, we're always stronger.